Good morning, dear students. Let's start chapter vectors. This is very important and very interesting. So let's start with introduction. In mathematics, there are several systems which are used in the analytical handling of certain problems. Vectors constitute one of these is very useful in the analytical study of those physical objects which possess direction as well as magnitude. In this chapter, we shall study some basic concepts of vectors and their algebraic and geometric properties. So students, what is vector? Vectors are those quantities which possess direction as well as magnitude. Here we have second definition of directed line segment. What is directed line segment? A portion of a straight line between two given points is called directed line segment. Here we have a line, straight line. Segment is what? Line segment is the portion of a line. So here AB is the line segment and it is directed towards A to B. So that's why this is called the directed line segment. Okay. We are able to distinguish these points as initial and terminal. So students, here A is the initial from which we are starting and B is the terminal point. So in this way, this line A to B is called the directed line segment. Okay. Thus, in this figure, you can observe that A to B is the direction. Associated with the directed line segment, we have its length, support and sense. So students, what is length? Length of AB is the distance between the initial and the terminal point, and that is denoted by mod of AB. Support is the unlimited line of which the directed line is a portion. Line L here is the support of the line directed line segment AB. Line L is the support of the directed line segment AB. And third is the sense of AB is from A to B because A is the initial and B is the terminal. Now here we have next topic, scalars and vectors. Scalars are what? A quantity which has magnitude only and having no direction. That is called the scalar. For example, length, mass, temperature, time, all you can see if we observe them, then they have only magnitude but they have no direction. Okay, so here we have the more examples related to the same. Here we have next vectors, a quantity which has both magnitude as well as direction. Students, suppose if we are throwing a scale in a particular direction and that scale is throwing in a direction that is directed. Okay students, so in this way that scale complete a direction and also complete some distance, covered some distance. In this way that covers some distance, that is the magnitude, as well as it has direction, that it is directed towards the direction. Okay, so in this way this quantity have magnitude as well as direction. So this is called vector. For example, velocity, acceleration, momentum, displacement, weight, all are vector quantities. So students, in this way, these are the definition of scalars and vectors. Now representation of a vector. We represent a vector by this symbol AB vector, that is directed. This means direction is from A to B. Similarly, the directed line segment B to A is represented vector whose length is B to A and its direction is from B to A. Thus, we can also say that vector is directed line segment. So, AB vector and BA vector both are different, both are same but only opposite in sign. Next here, notation of a vector. A vector is generally denoted by directed line segment AB or by a single small letter, that is A. And here we have the notation of arrow. This denotes the vector. Vectors are also denoted by the letters in bold type, example A, B, etc. Next is the magnitude. What is magnitude? The magnitude of modulus of a vector AB is the length measured between A and B. Suppose students, if you want to find the length of a vector A to B, then in this way you have to calculate the magnitude. That is, we have to calculate the modulus of AB vector. So this is the magnitude of a vector, that is the length measured from A to B. Now, next is the type of vectors. Here we have the type of vectors. First one is the null vector, that is the zero vector. In this way, we are standing on its initial position and we are not moving. That means when initial and terminal points are same, are coincide, then in this way, this vector is called the zero vector. Second is the most important and most useful. This is the unit vector. A vector whose magnitude is unity is called a unit vector. That means if we find the length of a vector and it becomes only 1, in this way, this is called the unit vector. Generally, it is denoted by A cap is equals to A vector over magnitude of A vector. This is very important. So, commit to memory. And third one is the equal vectors. Equal vectors are those vectors which have same length, same parallel support and the same sense. You can observe from the diagram. Here we have AB and EF, two vectors that have the same exact length and same parallel support as well as same direction. So in this way, these two vectors are equal vectors. Okay. फोर्थ वन इज द को इनिशियल वेक्टर्स. स्टूडेंट्स आप नाम से ही ऑब्जर्व कर सकते हैं. को इनिशियल मीन्स दोज वेक्टर्स विच हैव सेम इनिशियल पॉइंट. सपोज इफ आई एम स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम O and move towards A, and again from O initial point I move in the direction towards B. In the same way, if I move from A, start from O and move towards C. In this way, O is the initial point of OA, OB and OC. So these vectors are called co-initial vectors. Fifth one is the like and unlike vectors. Two vectors are said to be like if they have the same direction and unlike if they have opposite direction. This is very easy. If two vectors have the same direction, then that called the like, otherwise that called the unlike vectors. And sixth one is the collinear vectors. Students, all of you have studied from class 10th. What is collinear? So here, by using the same definition, if two or more vectors are said to be collinear vectors if they are parallel to the same straight line. Okay. In other words, vectors have the same line of support are called collinear vectors. So thus, 3 points ABC are collinear if AB vector is equals to MBC vector, where M is any scalar. Students, you have to commit this result because we use this result in the questions. Next is the coplanar. Students, co means one, planar. That means the vectors are said to be coplanar when they lie in the same plane. So students, in the same plane, or we can also say that parallel to the same plane. So that vectors are called the coplanar vectors. Now, next one is the negative of a vector. This is very easy. A vector B whose modulus is the same as that of a given vector. Students, suppose if we have the same length, okay, of two vectors but opposite in sign, then that is the negative of the given vector. In this way, both are same but only opposite in sign. So this is called the negative of a vector. Last one is the position vector. Let O be a fixed point and A be other point, any other point. Then the vector OA is called the position vector of the point A, and is generally denoted by small letters, say A vector, where A is the position vector of point A with respect to fixed point O. Suppose students, we have O fixed point and A is the another point, then the vector OA is called the position vector of point A. Okay, so in this way we denoted by this generally small letter A vector, so this is called the position vector. So students, in this video we have discussed about the basic concepts of the chapter vectors. So commit to memory the important results. So students, thank you for watching the complete video.